Amazing facts about Islam. If you happen to be a Muslim, you likely possess a considerable amount of knowledge. However, if you do not practice Islam, here's an overview of a few aspects that you may have been unaware of. Muslims love Jesus. Muslims hold a deep respect and love for Jesus, known as Isa in Arabic, who is highly regarded in Islam. The Quran mentions him 25 times, considering him a significant prophet and a messenger of God, given permission by God to perform miracles. There are, though, some differences in the way Muslims and Christians understand the story of Jesus. Muslims, being strictly monotheistic, meaning they believe in the purest form of believing in only one perfect God, do not view him as any part of God or the Son of God. Instead, they believe that he was a man, born without a father, and given prophethood like the prophets before and after him. As highlighted in the Quranic passage, verily, the likeness of Isa, Jesus, with Allah is the likeness of Adam. He created him from dust. Then he said to him, be, and he was. Just like Christians, Muslims regard Jesus as the Messiah. However, they believe that upon his return to earth at the end of time, he will reject any notion of being God or even part of God, but rather a prophet sent by God, like the other prophets and messengers, calling all to worship one God alone, associating no partners to him. Muslims use complementary phrases when mentioning prophets. When mentioning prophets, Muslims often use complementary phrases. For example, the abbreviation SAW, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, meaning may the blessings and peace of Allah be upon him, is used after references to Prophet Muhammad and all the other prophets such as Noah, Moses, and Jesus. You may also see PBUH or AS, alayhi salam, meaning peace be upon him. In the case of Mary and other highly regarded figures in history who aren't prophets, the same supplication is used, but obviously with the correct pronouns. In Islam, God has more than 99 names describing different attributes of his perfect self. Some examples are Ar-Rahman, the most merciful; Ar-Rahim, the most kind; As-Salam, the source of peace; Al-Ghaffar, the all-forgiving; Al-Alim, the all-knowing; Al-Wadud, the all-loving; and Al-Hadi, the guide. Ramadan isn't just about fasting. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, whoever does not give up bad speech and evil actions, Allah is not in need of his leaving his food and drink, meaning that fasting is about a complete spiritual cleanse, not just about not eating or drinking. During this month, Muslims strive to increase in good deeds like prayer and charity, avoid sins such as swearing and lying, and even avoiding as many distractions as possible, such as television or social media. These things combined add to the holistic approach to the purification of the soul, mind, and body. Fasting the month of Ramadan properly is shown to have a profound and great impact on a person's well-being and is a great reset for individuals, families, and communities alike. Charity is a big deal in Islam. One of the pillars of Islam is zakat. Zakat linguistically means to purify. Islamically, generally speaking, it is an obligatory charity that Muslims must give. The most common type of zakat is 2.5% of excess wealth, cash, gold, silver, commodities, etc., that a person has to give to those deserving it. Zakat serves as a method of purifying wealth, fulfilling one's social obligations, and stimulating economic prosperity. From its benefits is that it reminds Muslims that all their wealth originates from God and should be shared and used for good rather than simply accumulated. The practice of zakat and charity also helps feeling for others that are struggling and gives a person a sense of responsibility, emphasizing that we should all be connected and involved in assisting one another in goodness. By engaging in these acts, poverty is alleviated, humanity is united, peace is spread, justice is established, compassion and mercy are encouraged, and people's hope is nurtured. Jihad is not simply a holy war. This is commonly misrepresented in the Western media to promote fear, division, and paranoia amongst communities, societies, and nations. The term jihad in Islam carries the literal meaning of striving hard. There is a greater jihad and a lesser jihad. The greater jihad signifies the internal struggle against one's own desires, aiming to purify the heart, performing righteous deeds, refrain from evil, and ultimately enhance oneself. It focuses on personal growth and self-improvement within Islam. The lesser jihad is the physical act of war, whilst from the meanings of jihad is definitely war. Islam has very strict rules and guidelines regarding the rules of war, including not being treacherous, not killing innocents, and not harming places of benefit to people such as crops. No one can be forced to become a Muslim. The Quran clearly and strongly states that there is to be no compulsion in religion. While Islam promotes that only Islam is accepted by God, it does not allow for anyone to be forced to become a Muslim. Rather, Islam promotes calling to the way of God, Islam through wisdom and good speech, and to allow the people to accept Islam based on conviction. Even when Islam has political authority in a land, there is an agreement with rules and conditions that allows other religions to coexist with Muslims. The Muslims in those conditions have to protect the non-Muslims, known as dhimmis. Their blood, wealth, and honor is not to be harmed. Women are not second-class citizens in Islam. The Quran declares that men and women are equal in the eyes of God. Man and woman were created to be equal parts of a pair. The Quran describes the relationship between men and women as one of love and mercy. Men and women are to be like members of one another, like each other's garment. The coming of Islam resulted in improved status for women through various measures. This included the prohibition of killing female babies, the elimination of women as mere property, the establishment of women's legal rights, the recognition of their entitlement to receive their own dowry, a gift of financial worth offered by the husband at the time of marriage, the transformation of marriage into a contractual union where the mature parties agree, and the preservation of women's control over their property, and that they keep their last name even after they're married. Additionally, the Quran mandated financial support for women from their husbands and placed strict guidelines on matters like divorce, which were non-existent before Islam. These changes in Islamic teachings aimed to enhance the rights and empowerment of women. It's important to note that equal here does not mean the same. Islam promotes that God created men and women better made for different roles, which go towards the completion of one another for better lives individually, as a family, and as a society. The Quran does not condone terrorism. Whoever kills a soul except for punishment of killing another soul or for corruption done in the land, it is as if he has killed all of mankind. And whoever saves one soul, it is as if he had saved mankind entirely. Islam does not endorse or mandate unlawful acts of violence. The teachings of the Quran do not advocate or justify terrorism. The concept of God within the Quran consistently emphasizes mercy, compassion, and fair judgment. 113 of the 114 chapters in the Quran begin by mentioning God's mercy and compassion. Furthermore, the Quran frequently reminds Muslims to embody qualities of mercy and justice in various circumstances. Nevertheless, Islam permits and at times necessitates Muslims to protect themselves, their families, their religion, and their community from acts of aggression. This self-defense principle allows individuals to safeguard their well-being and uphold the principles of Islam when faced with hostile actions. In other circumstances where legitimate war is declared, as mentioned earlier, Islam has very strict rules and guidelines as to what are and what are not allowed. A major difference to Muslims is that if a person does wrong and gets away with it in this life, he cannot escape the accountability in the hereafter. Some governments, groups, or individuals think that they can get away with wrong and oppression, but Muslims are always reminded that they will return to God, and this helps serve keeping Muslims in check, even at sensitive times like war. Muslims are all part of an ummah. Muslims perceive themselves as part of a global Muslim community, referred to as the ummah. This term holds great significance in Islam, representing the collective body of believers worldwide. The ummah serves as a unifying force that transcends tribal, ethnic, and national identities. Its purpose lies in the shared objective of worshiping Allah and promoting the advancement of Islam. The concept of the ummah aims to dissolve divisions based on nationality, race, and social status, uniting Muslims under a common religious bond. In Islam, no race is better than another. The only way a believer becomes better than another believer is through their righteousness and worship of God. Conclusion: these lesser-known facts shed light on some intriguing aspects of Islam, a religion followed by over 1.6 billion people worldwide. Exploring and understanding different faiths fosters a more inclusive and harmonious society. We encourage all to continue their study of Islam. Thanks for watching. Let the power of media improve your connection to your deen and make a positive impact on your life. Download the One Islam TV app today and embark on a transformative journey of knowledge, inspiration, and spiritual growth.